Most people think the CIA only operates in the shadows, running missions, gathering intelligence, tracking targets across the world. But what they never realize is that some of the most powerful weapons ever studied were not physical, they were psychological, hidden in influence programs, interrogation research, and behavioral experiments. Fragments of these methods have surfaced over time, not as a clean manual, but as scattered pieces, patterns, tactics. And when you connect them, you start to see something disturbing. Because these methods were not designed for movies, they were designed for real human manipulation. You have just entered the dark psychology tavern, where minds are quietly studied, where masks slowly fall, and dangerous knowledge is served. If you want to understand how influence really works, subscribe now, because what you are about to see will change how you see people forever. Let's begin. The first tactic is called reputation conditioning. This is one of the most powerful ways to influence people without ever speaking to them directly. Instead of controlling someone, you control how others feel about them. Through repetition, through headlines, through constant exposure to a specific tone, positive or negative. Over time, people stop analyzing and start reacting. They do not think, they feel. And that feeling becomes their opinion. A person can be slowly turned into a hero or a villain, not through a single message, but through hundreds of small impressions that build over time. And once that emotional image is locked in, it becomes very difficult to question it, because it feels like your own judgment. But it was shaped long before you realized it. The second tactic is manufactured choice architecture. This is where control becomes invisible, because no one is forced to do anything. People are simply given options, different paths, different opinions, different choices. But those options are not neutral. They are arranged. One path is easier to see. One feels safer. One feels more acceptable. And without realizing it, people move in the direction that was designed for them. They believe they chose freely, but the environment made the decision predictable. No pressure, no force, just structure. The third tactic is psychological pressure cycling. This is where influence moves from logic into emotion. Pressure is introduced. Stress, tension, confusion. Then suddenly, relief, calm, understanding, support. The mind relaxes, trust increases, and then the pressure returns. This cycle repeats. Over time, it creates instability, mental fatigue. And when the mind becomes exhausted, it stops resisting, because it is no longer trying to win, it is trying to rest. The fourth tactic is identity erosion protocol. This is where things become personal. Instead of controlling actions, the goal is to weaken the person from the inside. Small doubts, small contradictions, moments that make someone question their own judgment. At first, it feels insignificant. But over time, confidence begins to fade, clarity disappears, and when someone no longer fully trusts themselves, they begin to look outside for certainty. And that is where influence becomes powerful, because it fills the space where self-trust used to be. And now, the final tactic, perception warfare. This is the highest level, because it is not about controlling a person, it is about controlling reality itself. What people see, what they hear, what they believe is happening. If perception is shaped correctly, control becomes unnecessary. People will act on their own, based on what they believe is true. And that is what makes this so powerful. Because when perception is controlled, behavior follows naturally. Without force, without awareness, without resistance. And that is why the most effective psychological tactics do not feel like control at all. They feel like reality. The tavern is closing for tonight, but the mind games never stop. If you see these patterns more clearly now, you are already ahead of most people. And once you start noticing them, you can never unsee them. Watch the next video, because this goes deeper than you think.